We're going to add on just a little bit more stuff to the JavaScript in our file to make this second button work. So it's a little bit more of a game. We're not just clicking the same button over and over again. To make this button work, what we're going to do is we need to start by getting this second button, this new button, the buy more clicks button. And just like before, we want to tell it, we want this button specifically. We want to make sure we know which button we're selecting. So we're going to give this button an ID, and we'll call it buy. So now this button has the ID of buy. And now what we're going to do is going to look a lot like what we did last time. We're going to have to get that button by its ID. So we'll say document.get element by ID, and then the ID we're getting is buy. And now on that buy button, we want to add an event listener. The event we're listening for is a click. And once we click on the button, we want a function to run. Okay, first of all, that's an M, not a comma. There we go. And now inside of this function here is where we're going to put all of our code. We also need a semicolon at the end of this, just like here. It's going to look, make sure you've got this exactly like mine. It's a little bit hard to get this syntax right. Make sure you're not missing any of these punctuations. So now what do we want to do inside of this function? Every time we click buy more clicks. So what should happen when I click buy more clicks is that it should cost me some number of clicks, like maybe it'll subtract 10 from my score, and then give me more clickers to work with. So that then every time I click, I'm getting, instead of getting just 1, I'm getting 2, and then if I buy more, I'm getting 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and so on. So the first thing we're going to need here is I actually want to add on another paragraph that tells me how many clickers I have. So I'm just going to add on a p tag, and here we're going to say clickers. There we go. We're also going to give it an ID because we're going to need to get it in the JavaScript. And I'm going to give it the ID of clicker. We're also going to need another variable to keep track of how many clickers we have. So I'm going to create another variable by saying let clickers equal 1. Because we start with just one clicker, and then over time we'll add more and more clickers onto it. So now in our function here for when we click buy, we need to add another clicker. So to do that, we'll say clickers equals clickers plus 1, just like we did here with score. So now however many clickers we have will go up by 1. We also want to make our score decrease by 10. So I can do that by saying score equals score, the previous score, minus 10, semicolon. There we go. And so now when I click on this, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Any thoughts about why it doesn't seem to be doing anything? Remember the problem we had back here where we were increasing the score but it wasn't showing up because we had to display the score? So the same thing is happening here. We click this button and everything updates, but it doesn't actually do anything until we click on this click me button here, because that's the button that has the code that shows it on the web page, that actually shows it to the user. So if I want to have this stuff show right away on the web page, I need to add code to update the clicker number and to update the score whenever I click the buy button. To do that, we're going to say document.get element by ID, and the first thing we're going to get by ID is the clicker paragraph right here. So we'll say clicker. And then what we want to do is set the inner text of this. So we'll say inner text is equal to, and again we'll say clickers plus clickers. This one is the word clickers so that we can see the word clickers here. And then this second part is the number clickers, so how many clickers we have, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. And so if I reload the page now and I click add clickers, you're going to see that now this updates, but the score you see still isn't updating. The score should be like negative 900 or whatever, but it only updates when I click me. So the other thing I want to do is take this code I have right here that gets the score and updates it, and I want to put it right underneath, right inside of this button, because I need that code to happen when I click the click me button, but I also need that code to happen when I click the buy more clicks button. Now if I click it, it'll happen right away. There is one more problem I want to address with this website though, and it's that I shouldn't be able to buy clickers when I don't have any score, right? When my score is 0, I shouldn't be able to buy clickers. I shouldn't just be able to go negative forever. That's ridiculous. So to fix that problem, what I'm going to do is use an if statement. And so an if statement is going to work like this. I'm going to say if, and then I'm going to say score is greater than or equal to, this means greater than or equal to, score is greater than or equal to 10. Only then should I be able to buy a clicker. I shouldn't be able to buy a clicker if I don't have a score of at least 10, because that means I can't pay for it. I can't afford it, right? So only if I have a score greater than or equal to 10 can I buy a clicker. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. So only the things inside of these two curly braces here, only the things inside of this if statement are actually going to happen. Let's try that out real quick. So if I click me a few times and I say buy clicks before I have enough, you'll notice it's not going to let me buy clicks yet because I don't have enough. Once I have 10 clicks and I click buy more clicks, now it'll let me buy another click. There we go. The other thing this isn't doing is this was supposed to increase the score by more than 1. It's supposed to increase the score by however many clickers you have every time you click. So right now it should be increasing the score by 3. This should make it 9. That should make it 10. That should make it 11. But it's just going by 1 right now. So we're going to make the score change by however many clickers you have. To do that, we're going to go into the code for our clicker when we click on the score button, the click me button. And instead of increasing by 1, we want it to increase by the number of clickers that we have. So to do that, we'll say clickers. So score equals the previous score plus the number of clickers is our new score. Now if I refresh the page and I get some clicks, here, let's get a few. Now you'll see that whenever I click now, it increases it by 3, 15, 18, 21, and so on. And I can buy more, and now it'll increase it by 5. So 9, 14, 19, 24, and so on. And there you go. That is a very simple clicker game. I hope you guys have fun making some of your own modifications to it. This is our very first web development project. If you have gotten this far, you should really give yourself a hand because I did not try to make this easy on you. I made it very difficult, and this is some complicated stuff to get through right away. So if you've got this working, congratulations. Great job. In the next videos, we'll get into some more complex parts of HTML and CSS and JavaScript, adding things like images and links and so on, so we can make our websites a little bit more fun and interesting.